Good evening, everybody. We're going to start the meeting tonight of the Town of Rhinebeck Zoning Board of Appeals. The first matter is the review and approval of the minutes from November 15th, 2017. I didn't see any glaring mistakes or need for changes. I know, Tim, I think you have some minor...
I had some very minor non-content corrections or adjustments, which I've given to Chris.
Given to Chris, okay. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
I've got a dozen minor changes too, which I
Yeah.
can send to you rather than go through them.
Okay. Are they like spelling errors and that kind of stuff? Or
Yeah, if I'm
grammar?
missing words.
Yeah. Okay. All right, but no content issues, right?
Right.
Okay. Subject to the changes that Tim has forwarded on to Chris and Dave wants to forward on to Chris and will forward on to Chris.
So do it right now.
Do it right now. I make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 15th, 2017 meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, great, carried. We have a new piece of business, case number 959, Horstman. Is there anybody here for that? Okay, come on up. Have you been through the process before?
I have not.
Okay.
Been going through the planning board process,
All
so.
right. The process here, at least tonight, is just to have you go through the application. We'll probably have some questions for you. If we deem the application complete, we'll accept it, and we'll set a public hearing, which will probably be the first meeting in January, which is? 17th.
Okay.
So if you could, just... 17th?
Yes.
Okay. Just take us through the application. I know you want to move a driveway and put a garage in, but if you could just take us through the application so we understand it a little bit better.
Sure, and I had a site plan sent over by Marie Welch. Do you guys have a copy? Should I put it up on the?
Yeah, you can put it
you
up,
wanna-
just so Fred can take it, and if people want to see, you can use that for.
Okay, so let me give you an idea of sort of how the house is currently configured. It is an A-frame that is here looking out over the river. The driveway was originally cut in on the river side of the house. The house sits up on the top of a pretty steep ridge. And so I think for practicality purposes, the driveway was just cut in. There was a retaining wall built. Originally, in the basement was a garage, which was enclosed by the prior owner. So currently, this ledge that's actually been created that sits up on top of this retaining wall is a car parking lot. So all cars can be seen here from the river looking at the house. And even sort of this being a driveway is fairly unsightly from the river view perspective of the house. So what our proposal is to build a freestanding two-car garage on the non-river side of the property. And it's actually sited in a fairly, or the flattest area of the property. And the idea is that it's minimally invasive in terms of siting this on, so we don't have to cut into as much of the hill, as limited as much as we can. And then bring the driveway on the non-river side as well, so from that two-car garage. Again, there's a fairly flat area that is from that part of the garage out to the road, so fairly straightforward driveway there. And then where the existing driveway is, we will close that off. There's a series of white pines and Norway spruce that have actually been planted. We'll close that off and continue that tree line, as well as take out this retaining wall and then restore the slope to what it originally was. So this side of the slope will actually match on this side to what's on the opposite side of the house. So essentially do some land restoration work. So then from the river view, you won't see any cars, you won't see this driveway. And then ultimately we'll convert what's this current area under a deck and coming out from the house into some sort of a bluestone terrace as part of the future phase of the project. The variances that we are applying for is a setback variance as well as a front variance. So I believe the regulation now is 150 feet for the variance to the road. We're currently at 93.4 feet. And then the side variance is 100 feet, and so this is 21.6 feet. So that's the second variance. I think it's important to note here as well that George and Gail Reek, who are neighbors who are on this side of whose property abuts, actually they were here for the planning board hearing as well. We're sort of working through how to jointly do make sure that our drainage systems are all working together with this project. But their house is situated very far north on their property. This is more of a flag lot. So their driveway runs along the property line here. And so we don't feel that this setback variance, side setback variance is really problematic, given the fact that their house is far north up here, and they really won't even see this. They'll just have our driveway will effectively then run fairly parallel then to their driveway.
Yeah, and they'll have the opportunity to say what they want to say if they choose to come
Okay.
at the public hearings.
All right, great.
How far away would you say that their house is?
Their house is due north of ours, so their house is up here. It's actually, it's sort of a flag lot. They have a very, very long driveway, because when we look out our front door, which is here, we can see their house up here.
Thank you.
And their existing driveway, the proposed driveway that you want to put in would be parallel to it?
Yeah, fairly parallel. I mean, their driveway runs about, I would say, probably 10 feet, maybe 10 to 20 feet, just to the right of the property line. So their driveway runs along here.
So theirs is fairly close to the property line as well?
Yeah, yeah.
So it looks like it would be a few hundred feet between your garage and their house, probably.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I'd say probably,
Maybe.
yeah, probably 300-400 feet, I would guess.
Okay. Do you have, we'll ask for this, staked out where the freestanding garage is supposed
Yeah,
to be?
it's staked out on the property.
It is already staked out?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And if we went out there, is there a way that we could see where the driveway, the proposed driveway is going to be? I mean, I know we can kind of figure it out
Yeah.
because we'll see what the stakes are.
You know what I could do is, this is staked out, the 24 by 28 garage. I could, because this is, since Marie did draw this where the driveway is, when the CAB came out, there are some trees here and they recommended, and we sort of, it all makes sense, to bring the driveway actually further, let's see, in this direction, south, so that it's actually a flatter part of the property. There are actually a couple of forsythia bushes that I transplanted here, which is really where the driveway is going to enter. But I can put some stake markers if you're going to do a site, if you're going to do a site visit. Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Any other questions, concerns, requests for additional information?
Well and septic.
Of course.
Of course.
How could I forget?
Please, need I even say it?
No, that's your gig. Go for it.
Well and septic is always useful to see when you're constructing new driveways and improvements, buildings. Make sure
Okay.
that you're not building right over your septic or...
Well, we have the famous sewer system of the Cove Road and Clay Court. So we have a sewer system. I'm sorry. Infamous. Yes. We bought the house, I think we're coming up on 2 years, so that all predated, thank goodness. There is a well. The well is situated in...
Could you mark it
Yeah.
just approximately? I'll give
Sure.
you my pen, and then you can give me back when you're done. I'll take that back, but at least give us a general idea of where it is.
It's generally in this area.
What's that? Is that northish of the house? Yeah,
South.
Northwest.
The well is
West of the
south,
house.
south of the house. Yeah, the well is here.
If you could just turn that a little so we can see it.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be great. Where'd you mark that?
Here.
There it is, great, thank you.
Sure.
Do you have any renderings or something that shows us what the garage is going to look like?
Yeah, I believe I submitted them with the application. There were some architectural plans.
Oh, I didn't see.
No?
Yeah, I didn't see them.
Oh, okay, I do, I have them. I thought maybe I didn't submit them, but,
Yeah, I saw that there was,
The photograph.
okay.
So some site
there's some
photos,
difficult-to-see photographs. There are 3 of them. They're copies, so, I don't know, do you have any?
I can submit the architectural drawings of the garage.
That'd be great, and then maybe color photographs to
and then
Chris,
some-
and she can forward them
Sure.
on to us.
Just a description of it is to keep it as much behind the sight line from the ridge. It's a very low-pitched garage, just with a gabled roof. It's, I think it's 12 feet high at its peak. So the walls are 10 feet high, and then the roof it basically pitches up to 2 feet and then back down 2 feet. We'll have a single garage door and clad in cedar, and basically have a metal roof. So fairly straightforward. There's decided that to keep it minimally invasive, there is no side door for entering and exiting. We're mostly going to enter and exit just through the garage door. There is a barn door for just the movement of equipment, land equipment, garage, lawnmowers, et cetera, on this side, but it's really just going to be tucked into the hill, and so no retaining walls or anything like that.
I'm good.
No? Okay, subject to giving us the color copies of the photographs and giving us some renderings of the garage, proposed garage, I'll make a motion that we accept the application as complete. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Do you want some additional information? I see you guys talking down there.
First, want to understand something procedurally.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I was looking through the application for indication of deed restrictions. Is that part of the standard application, John? 'Cause I just don't see it.
We don't normally ask for that.
Okay.
We don't have the authority to enforce deed restrictions. So,
Right, it's just, sometimes
Just
it's
the
nice
law.
to have as a flag. because-
Yeah, it's something that can be considered. It's not normally something that we request.
You guys have anything else you'd like?
No, you're bringing it now because this way, they make the change now. Also, shouldn't it be able to?
Richard, Tim?
Yeah.
Any other
What
questions?
Tim and I are discussing is, on the 93.4, which is the front yard setback, that's running to which line? To Cove Road, or?
Correct, correct, that's to Cove Road.
And then what is the next line?
The 180 feet? Or the 96.96?
Line south of it.
The 96.3 feet is from the house to Cove Road. So that's the existing house, is the A-frame dwelling.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I see.
So I
I
just
see.
had a suggestion, which is strictly up to you, but the garage front setback is about 3 feet shorter than the house setback. There would be something kind of nice and neat about having them both land on the same, 3 feet back.
Well, you know what, what's odd about this is that, as I'm looking at this, I'm wondering, I'll check with Marie, but
Yeah, they might be reversed.
I think they're reversed, because the garage is actually further back from the road. I think she may have reversed the
So that's
numbers.
96.3 to the garage, and the house is 93.4.
I think it's 93.4, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and somehow that feels a lot better.
Because I know that, I remember reading in the zoning regulation that any additional dwelling had to actually be further set back from the primary. And so when we were doing the siting of it, I remember specifically making sure that we were doing that. So it is, I know that where it's staked out is actually further from Cove Road. So I'll check with Maria and make sure we confirm. I think these numbers are reversed.
Okay, and you can let us know if that's so.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, good.
All right, we have a second on my motion?
Second, yes.
Do we have, okay, we got the second,
Yeah.
right,
Yes,
Catherine?
yes.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. We'll set it for a public hearing on January 17th. We have to do a secret determination.
And is there a similar notice process as
Yes.
I did for the planning board for the public
Yes.
hearing?
Zoning does it, actually.
Oh, okay, all right. It makes my life easier.
Yeah, your neighbors will be notified, and the ones we mentioned, and they can come at the hearing if they like, and let us know what they think, either for or against, or just have questions answered.
Okay.
All right? Yeah, let's see, I have, who would like to? You do? Okay, Dave's agreed to take do the resolution.
Good.
I'm due.
Get away with murder.
Thank you, sir. Oh, great. And, John, I see that, Kim, you sent over a recommendation that this be deemed a type 2 action under seeker, under 617, 5C10 and C12.
Yeah,
And I
C10
concur.
because it's the accessory dwelling for C10, and then C12 is the individual setback, so.
All right. I make a motion that we deem the matter to be a type 2 action under seeker, under 617, 5C10, and C12. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And we have to refer the matter off to what looks like the planning board and the WAC, is that correct?
Yeah, it's within the LWRC.
Okay, yep. Yeah, because it's right on the river there.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Okay, does that require a motion, or we can just simply have that done?
You can just ask Chris.
Okay, Chris, if you could just, you got the printout from Kim, right? So we'll ask those entities to give us their input.
All right.
And,
Yes, corrected survey first, or?
no, I think it's fine. The surveys, I think, is good. It's just whether it's 93 or 96, and I think it's, yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. Doesn't really change it too much.
Okay.
All right. All right, we have a couple of public hearings. I apologize if we're running a little bit late. Warren, you're up first on the, is it Pfizer?
Yes.
Okay, the Pfizer matters. All right, take it away.
You all set?
Is there anyone here for the Beiser case? Just figured I'd ask. No? Okay.
Okay, I'm Warren Smith, architect representing Martin and Catherine Beiser, who were at 24 Mill Road in one of the two original tenant cottages that were built for the Grasmere estate. Their neighbors on two sides are the Rhinebeck Cemetery, and the neighbors on the west side, in fact, the other cottage built at that time for the Grasmere estate. So what the Beisers want to do is put a screen porch addition on the back of their house, which will make them closer to the rear property line, but not closer to either of the side property lines. But they also want to put off that screen porch a stone patio at grade, and a stone patio is classified as a structure under the zoning law here. So on the advice of your counsel, Grant Lyons, we checked setbacks from the new proposed, both the screen porch and the patio, and we require, just to clarify what was the original application, a front setback reduction from the front property line to the patio of 84.6 feet, whereas the required front setback is 150 feet. And from the western property line, that same grade patio at the closest point will be 3.75 or 3.9 inches from the property line. And those are the only two we require. On the east side, we're more than 100 feet with the new porch and patio from that property line.
So, Warren, on the
just
side-
two variances.
Yeah, so Warren, on the side, it's 100 to what?
On the east side, it's 104.75 feet.
No, but I'm saying that what's required, you have...
Oh, the required is 100.
Is 100, and then it's going to be what? I'm sorry.
It's on the east side, we're not going to be any closer than we are currently.
Okay.
So it's the front setback and the west side yard setback.
I'm sorry, what was the front? I didn't catch the...
Yeah,
So
it was
18.
84.5.
Thank you.
So this is a .86 acre or less than a 1 acre lot in what is now the 10 acre district. So pretty much anything that happens on this property is subject to a variance from the board here.
Did anybody have a chance to go out and take a look? I did a drive-by, was able to take a bit of a look. I know it's staked out,
We just take it out, right?
so it gives it a good idea. So if you get a chance,
I'll drive by.
try to go by. And can we just...
Yeah, you
I
can.
just kind of drove by.
You can stop it and
We can
walk around
stop
back.
and just- okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, to me, it's pretty simple and self-explanatory, but does anybody else have any questions, concerns? Anybody from the audience that's concerned with this application? No one? John, anything that, or Kim?
Nope, I was just referring to the memo, which you answered the questions on that. I just needed the revised measurement, so
Right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's no questions, concerns, requests for additional information, I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. I'm assigned to do the resolution, so I will do it. I will have it done by January 17th. You'll probably have some more people going out there to take a look around,
I'll let them know.
and but we'll certainly have the resolution done on the 17th.
Very good.
Any discussion tonight amongst board members?
I mean, I have no quarrel with it. It's fine by me. I think it's fine. That's my take on it. But I'll defer to the rest of the gang once you've had a chance to go out there and take a look around. But I'll write it up, at least preliminarily, in the affirmative.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Warren.
Thank you, Warren.
Just one notation. I did see that we got something back from the planning board, and they apparently don't have quarrel with the application.
We're good.
Was anything received from the WAC?
No.
They had their meeting in Pasco by the time they got the application, so I think maybe by
They
the
might-
next
they might
meeting.
get Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you once.
I think we're beyond the threshold anyway, so, if, it's, the board can take a look at it, but
Right.
they're not constrained to it.
Well, hopefully we'll have something back before I can do the resolution. I can insert something, but if not, you're right. We're going to be past the 30
I'd be
days.
shocked if they have any concerns.
Yeah, me too. Okay. All right, next matter on is Garden Homes Management, and is the applicant here? Okay, come on up, and if you can go through what you're seeking in the application. One thing that was brought up, and I'll ask you about it, I think it was counsel for Mr. Patel indicated that the property owner is Garden Homes Mobile Home Park Company Limited Partnership. Is that correct?
Yes.
Should that be the applicant versus the management company?
They all fall under the management company, as far as I
Right,
understand.
but I mean, it's, the property owners should be the applicant, correct?
Yes. Yeah, they can be represented by the.
Right, no, I understand, but they can be represented, but the application talks about the management company being the applicant. I think just to be accurate, the application should be amended to say that it's actually the owner of the property, which is the partnership.
Yeah.
Okay? Is the partnership actually the owner?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Well-
And there should be if you can provide this gentleman with a owner's affidavit so that he can get a signature from somebody in the partnership for the file. So this is a technicality and.
Right, I just wanted to get it out of the way.
I apologize for this, but so if the owner is the owner will be the applicant, and they have to authorize you as the representative? Oh, did you do that already? Great. Could you give that to Chris? Chris, it's already done, all set.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Now, did you see that, or John, why don't you take a look at it, but is it, yeah, it's not,
No?
well, it just says the applicant name, Garden Home / Glenn Freer. And then you signed it as the applicant. I just want to get it right, that's all. It's a technicality, I agree. But I think whoever's writing, who was assigned to this one, do you remember?
Tim.
Tim, okay. Oh, that's right, because you did a draft. I think we have to just make that clear that who the applicant is, so we can obviously proceed, I just want to make it right,
Yeah.
okay?
This can be the corrected owner's affidavit can be submitted to Chris in the interim.
Right. So just if you could just take a look at it and get the owner of the property to sign off on it. We'll proceed.
All right, you signed it.
Well, I guess my question is who is the owner?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know the president of the company.
If you can just find out, make sure the appropriate name's in there, that's all.
Well, according to
Should be on the deed.
the county tax records, oh, I get the wrong file here. Hold on.
This is Garden Homes Mobile Home Park. That's what it's listed as on the parcel access. But it doesn't give an actual.
The Supreme Court case lists Garden Homes Mobile Home Park Company Limited Partnership. Presumably, that is the owner.
29 Knapp Street, Stamford, Connecticut? Okay.
That's what it must be.
So if you can get somebody from Garden Homes to sign the affidavit as the owner for you?
Do you also need the authority of the organization of the, basically, the...
No, no.
Okay.
That's the president.
Yeah.
I think it's just amending that document to put in the limited partnership. And then it has to be signed by somebody on behalf of the partnership, presumably it's that individual.
It has been signed by someone from the partnership.
Well, no, this is Glenn.
Oh, I see.
The applicant signed is Glenn, but he got the affidavit for the ownership. This Richard Friedman
He's the president.
is the owner, so he did sign.
Yeah, okay. This looks okay to me.
Okay. Okay, I don't see where the partnership, maybe I'm just not reading it correctly. Was it 4 times? I'm just wondering where it says, but where is the limited partnership? I know he's a member of the partnership, but it doesn't really say that here. I know it's in
Well,
there.
this is the applicant's certification, so the owner only signs the part.
Switch your glasses.
as
Really contain a representation.
as to who he is.
Yes.
This is a nit, just maybe amending this just to say, as
Just writing
Part-
underneath here, member.
member of the partnership or something or other, just so we have it.
Okay. Just writing it underneath there is going to be sufficient.
Okay. You'll take care of that. All right, take it away.
Oh, and may I interrupt also?
Certainly.
Because I just want to remind the board members that on November 21st, I sent you an email correcting a fairly significant misstatement that I made in connection with this application at the last meeting, because I indicated to you at the time that I thought that this mobile home community was a non-conforming use. And I circulated an email to the board correcting that. And you may recall that I had said that it was the intention of the town that these communities to be able to continue. And in fact, the town did create what's called the NR Neighborhood Residential District for this community and one other community in Rhinebeck. So I just want to be clear going forward, this use on this site is a conforming use and not a non-conforming use.
Thank you, John.
Okay, sorry. We're filling you up with technicalities tonight, and I apologize for that.
All right.
All right.
I'm asking for a variance to replace an existing mobile home with a rear yard setback of 25 foot. We're asking to be at 18, and the front yard from 10 foot down to 2 foot.
Okay. And as I understand it, you want to replace a 1960s era mobile home, which is approximately 672 square feet, with a 2018, which is approximately 504 square feet.
Yes.
And currently, the 1960s mobile home is actually not entirely on the property of the owner. It's a portion of it is actually on either, I think it's Mr. Patel's
Mr.
property.
Patel's property, yes.
All right, and so when you, assuming this is granted and the replacement is done, it'll actually be on your property. There'll be no encroachment upon Mr. Patel's.
Correct.
I know we have folks here for this application, so first I'll ask the board members, does anybody have any questions, concerns?
Well, one question I have is, other trailers, or let's just say the trailer on each side of this one, how many feet are they in terms of the front yard? I guess there's a road there, so there's, you're asking for this trailer to be 1 to 3 feet from the road?
From the blacktop, yes.
From the blacktop?
Yes.
Okay. And the trailer on the left and to the right of this, how close is that, if you know, to the blacktop?
One is probably, let's see, the one on the right, I would assume is about 1 foot, 2 foot.
All right.
And the other one is probably about 5 foot.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Is the trailer to be replaced currently lived in?
No, no.
So we can easily go walk around it?
It's been removed. It was falling.
Oh, it's gone.
It was falling down.
So we get to see the pad.
So we can definitely go to the site.
Yeah, yeah, and the marks are there, yeah.
Anything else?
Richard and myself will take a site.
Was that?
Richard and myself will probably take a site.
This
Okay.
Friday, we're going to go.
All right, great. So you'll see these two lurking around and taking a look at the pad.
Okay.
All right, well, I know we have people in the audience who want to be heard on this application, so if somebody wants to be heard, if you could come up, go to the microphone, say who you are, and let us know what questions, concerns, et cetera, you have.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Stone. I represent Dayabai and Chandrika Patel, who own the property next door. I sent a letter today to the board. I don't know if everyone has copies. I have some extra copies. In terms of the instant application, we don't have a problem because it's going to be moving one unit back onto the Garden Homes property. The problem is that other trailers encroach upon the Patel property. Specifically, I mean, by their own admission on the survey and stakeout by Marie Welsh here, the next trailer over is 7.7 feet encroaching onto the Patel property. I've also attached a copy of an earlier survey that we have showing that other trailers to the right, that would be to the right of the unit number 40 that's being replaced, also encroach. And I would submit to the board that this is a deceptive survey, that this is a partial survey, that they haven't drawn the other trailers to the right of the one that's being replaced, and they purposely omitted that to make it look better. There are other encroachments. On the other side, there was a lot line adjustment, I believe, some years ago because they encroached on the south side of their property so severely that they had to do a lot line adjustment and buy some property from the neighbor. This is an overused parcel. This is overtaxing the facility. We also found a copy of a prior site plan, which is drawn to indicate that every single mobile home will be on their site. So our premise to the board is that until or unless they remove all of their encroachments on other people's properties, until they show you a survey showing that this is a legitimate organization, that this is properly configured and complies with the current site plan, we oppose approval of this application. Beyond that, my letter also spoke of we have had years of litigation about discharge of sewer effluent onto the Patel property, and I'm going to hand over, I have some extra copies, 3 or 4 copies. The appellate division today told Garden Homes they can't discharge onto Patel's property anyway.
So a decision was handed down on the appeal?
We prevailed on the appeal, and they're not allowed. Well, we're going to be going back to court. The court told us to return to state Supreme Court for a hearing on damages and injunctive relief is how the court ruled today. It was after I sent my letter over. So this case involves the unlawful discharge of sewage onto the Patel property. So it's gone on for years. We've tried to stop it. We've asked the Department of Health. We've asked the DEC to do something about it, and they won't, because I guess they would have to admit that they were wrong in approving the sand filtration system in the first place. So we also, during the course of the litigation, found out that many of these trailers don't have COs either. So we don't even know that that they've been inspected, that they're safe for habitation. So this is a property of multiple issues, and we would oppose the board granting relief until some of these issues are addressed.
Just so we can be clear about your objections. If I understand, you're objecting to approval of this application until encroachments are gone, CFOs are corrected and issued, and the waste is...
Well, the waste, that's going to be addressed by the court. I mean, I don't know if this board has any power to do it. I don't know if there's any clean water authority.
I'm not saying we do. I just want to understand.
Yeah. I'm sorry. The final point that I think I made was that they need to comply with their site plan. I don't believe they're in compliance with their site plan. The one that we uncovered at circa 1984, I don't know if there's any more current one. But that is drawn to indicate that all of the homes are going to be self-contained on the parcel, which is the way it really should be. And this property started out as I believe 7 units back in the early 80s. Then they put more and more units now that it's up to 41. And it really, the premise is that if they self-contained the units, if they hadn't expanded it that largely, they wouldn't have had to discharge waste onto the Patel property. They wouldn't have had to have the trailers go over the edges. So this is, again, a property that's being overutilized for its space. And we would ask the board to take into account those we believe, non-compliances and not approve something now without addressing the other issues.
Was the issue of encroachment in your lawsuit against this applicant?
The encroachment there is the continual discharge of up to 7,000 gallons of
I understand
effluent.
that. Is there a second or third, or is there a count in this litigation for the physical encroachment of the trail?
No. No, sir. That's not a subject of that, of the instant litigation.
Thank you.
What evidence do you have about the C of O issue, that some of the units do not have C of Os? Because I think one of your arguments here, and maybe one of your stronger arguments, is that since there are existing violations, we should not give this relief. So I'm just wondering what evidence you have to show that.
The only evidence I have of that, and I guess it's difficult to prove a negative, is that during the course of the litigation, I came to Village Hall and asked the building department if we could see the COs for these, for the trailers, and there was, or homes, there might have been 2 or 3, I believe, on file. A handful. That's all I have on that.
And you said there's now 41 trailers there? Did you say 41? Did I hear that?
I believe there's 41 trailers, 41 homes.
And the site plan that you found in 84 was for how many?
Oh, the 84.
Or the most recent site plan, maybe that's what I should say.
I'm not positive this is the current one, but it's circa 1984, and it shows 40 trailers,
Oh,
but all carefully, all shown within the boundary lines,
And
which is not,
what was that submitted for, do you know? That document, who submitted that to who?
we obtained this pursuant to a subpoena in connection with the litigation. So I don't know, I can't represent to you that this is the current site plan.
Do you know if that was ever submitted to an agency in Rhinebeck?
Does it have
I'm not certain, it
Is
has,
it signed by the planning board chairperson?
we have an engineer.
Not engineered.
Should be a line somewhere else down here for the approval.
I mean, my belief is that the site plan wouldn't have been approved if they'd shown the trailers being
No, I
drawn
understand
outside
that.
of the parcel.
I'm just trying to understand what this document is.
And your belief is that the site plan shows 41 units, and there are currently 40 units with an empty pad?
I think this shows 40 on this site plan, and they claim that they're 41. But again, this site plan claims that all of them, that it's all self-contained.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to understand what the number, basically. This shows 40, and you're saying the proposed application is for the 41st?
I believe it goes up to 41,
Yeah,
sir.
okay.
Yes.
And how many trailers do you feel encroach onto the
well-
Patel land?
You can take this.
Okay, you can take this
Are
back.
you going to leave that with the board, or?
I could
Well, we
make
can
a
get a copy and submit
reduce, I could have it copied, reduced. Do you want full size, or you want it reduced?
Full size, please.
Okay. The other encroachments, again, we didn't concern ourselves completely with the encroachments on the other side of the property, but a survey, this is also circa 1984. This survey shows a number of units, I guess to the south, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units encroaching, but they may have done a lot line adjustment to the south. On the Patel side, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 units encroaching on this survey, which I believe was done for Garden Homes.
Do we have a copy of that?
I didn't have time to, I will
No, we
make copies, I
appreciate
didn't have
that.
time
Yeah, that
to
would be
reduce it.
That looks like the most helpful map so far, so.
But I believe part of the application process that the applicant should be submitting to you current renderings of these items. At least that's our argument, to demonstrate compliance.
Okay, Mr. Stone, you done with the argument?
I'm done with
Okay.
my presentation.
All right.
Thank you.
Then I'll have Mr. Freer respond to the arguments you made, if you want to respond to them. Let me ask you first, are there COs on all of the trailers, or
All the most recent ones, correct, yes. And,
do they all have COs?
no, I think that was before COs. Some of them are in there before COs. I'm not sure when the town started with the CO,
I do not know.
but since then, yes, there are COs on them all. And there's 40 units in the park.
All right, to your knowledge, was that an approved number by the town?
When Garden House bought it, I believe it was 43 units. We eliminated 3 lots.
So the one that you're applying for would be the 40th unit, or it would be...
It's
40
number 40. Our numbers go up to 43,
Okay.
because the ones in the back where the sand filters were built were removed.
Well, I'm sorry, just to be clear, it sounded to me like there are 41 pads,
No.
40 of which have homes.
No.
There are 40 pads.
40 pads.
39 of which have homes.
Yes.
Thank you.
So just to clarify, are we asking Mr. Spear to provide those drawings?
No, I think, Mr. Stone, those are your property,
Yes.
the drawings, so I'd ask Mr. Stone if you could provide those drawings.
We certainly will. How many copies would you like?
John, you're going to want one, right?
4 copies, is that enough for the board?
I think so,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
we
fine.
can share.
Yeah.
I think we can
Yeah.
share, so 4? Is that-
Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns, Elizabeth,
Yeah.
Catherine?
On the other trailers that are encroaching on the Patel land, are there any plans to replace those?
One was replaced a year or so ago, and it's back on our side. And as they come available, yes, we would replace them.
But there aren't any kind of, like, yes, next month, next year, next this, there aren't any plans like that to replace them?
There could be for lot number 41, that's the one that shows on the map there, that's 7 foot over. We may have the opportunity to purchase that.
You said you replaced one recently,
Maybe a year and a half ago?
and did you come before us for that?
No.
Was it within the zoning?
Apparently, I did
mean,
a building
it
permit, they
just-
gave me a
It just
permit.
seems because of the topography or the way it's laid out, that any replacement would have to come probably before us, because you need a lot line variance.
Yeah, I was never told that.
But you went to the building inspector?
Yes, oh yes, we have the CO.
And you got a CO and all that.
And got, yes.
All right.
Have any of your neighbors complained to you, other than the Patels, about these encroachments?
No,
Have any of your neighbors brought an action for ejectment or encroachment or some action to remove these trailers?
no.
Thank you.
Just looking at the photograph, I still don't understand how. I understand you went to, the town and they approved the removal and replacement and gave you a CO and everything else, but just looking at this photograph, I don't understand how that could have been done.
Exactly the same footprints and within the
Yeah,
property
but
line, right?
probably within the property line, but still, it's not, I think it would need well, that's another issue, we won't get into that, but. Questions, concerns? John?
I just have one other question. Mr. Stone, is your client ever made any kind of complaint about the issues that you're discussing to the town zoning enforcement officer?
Which one of my issues are you referring to?
Well, for instance, just to cite one, that the location of the units on the site don't comply with the approved site plan?
I don't think we've lodged those complaints heretofore because we've been embroiled more in the litigation and trying to stop the sewage from coming onto the property. So this is, I would submit a secondary concern.
The purpose of my question is just to ascertain whether or not a complaint has been made up to this point.
At this time, to my knowledge, no.
Okay, thank you.
Are you here for this application? No? Okay. Your thoughts about closing the meeting, continuing it?
Well, the,
I know we want more information, obviously.
Yeah, it seems to me that the survey alone is incomplete. It's only partial, right?
That's what was asked for.
Okay.
It was, yeah, when I submitted it, and they said, just need a plan of where that is and the homes next to it.
yeah.
I see.
Yeah, but the board is authorized to request, as the application proceeds, if you are in need of additional information, you can request additional information as part of that process.
For which parcel? Because this is, the park is in 2 parcels.
I mean, to me, it just seems that it feels to me as if we might be abrogating our responsibilities if we did not see this entire parcel, knowing that there are so many issues relating to the number of units, the contribution to waste, and the encroachments.
I don't know if that's really part of our consideration.
Let's talk about that for a second, because I understand, I think that where you're coming from is born of a desire to be conscientious in the board's approach to this, but you also need to be aware of the fact that you're a board of limited jurisdiction, okay? And, the question is, right now, section 12511 of the zoning law prohibits the granting of approvals of which variances are included in an instance where there's a pending violation. But the violation has to be a violation as established by the zoning enforcement officer, not an alleged violation. So right now, that's why I was asking whether or not there was something in the pipeline at the zoning enforcement officer's office. But right now, I don't think that...
And that's why I was asking for what proof there was of not having COs, that being potential violations, because we don't grant variances if there's outstanding violations. That's just, we're prohibited from doing it, and that's a long-standing policy and procedure. But I don't know that there's anything official behind this.
Yeah,
There's no...
the problem is that you are not really authorized to go up and conduct your own investigation of these things. Typically, your judgment is confined to the record that's before you.
So I guess the question is, to what extent can we ask for more record?
Well, and beyond that, to what extent is that information
Relevant.
germane to the issue of the
application.
variance application? And I think from our standpoint, Grant and Lyons, I think if you're going to be looking for more information, I think we'd like a little bit of time to look into that question for you rather than dealing off the cuff tonight.
And I think some of the information you want may be supplied by the information Mr. Stone is going to give to us.
Well, some of that information is going to, those documents, at least the one map I saw, it's got some information, but it's not a signed site plan approval, so I don't know, whether...
We can do some research to see if it exists.
Just at least to check with Gretchen, Chris, to see if there's a signed, approved site plan map, because then the unit locations, I would think, if there is that map, are going to be depicted on that site plan approval map. And then we can see where we are. And in the meantime, Kim and I will look into the issue of these issues are germane to the variance question.
Isn't it really two completely separate issues?
It might be.
I mean,
Three if you include, one is the lot line locations and two is the sewage.
I agree with you, but I'd like to have our council research that to see if it's something that, my gut call is that they are separate and it's not something that is
I think
germane
it's
to our...
something we want to be sure.
But we want to be sure about it because of the extent of the problem. And there may be other replacements in the future and these coming back to us, so I'd like to have a basis of knowledge as to that.
Yep.
All right, I'll make a motion to keep the public hearing open for the next meeting date of January 17th. The purpose of that is to get some more information from Mr. Stone and also to have our council research the issue of whether these other issues are germane to our consideration of the variances you've requested. Okay, so, John, do we need a motion to keep the public hearing open?
Just a motion to continue the.
Okay, I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
January 17th meeting.
Okay, I guess Tim. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, you'll be on again for the 17th. Hopefully, we'll be able to wrap it up on the 17th.
Okay.
All right?
All right, thank you.
All right, and that brings us to the last application of the evening, public hearing, and that is the Eveready Diner. Richard, would you be so kind? I have to
Yes.
recuse myself. Bless you. Bless you.
This is a continuing matter where the fire was at the Eveready Diner. On the last meeting 1 month ago, we were waiting, well, we weren't waiting, but we were told that the Dutchess County Department of Health had indicated that that the septic system had to be approved by them, and that's where we are, waiting for that. So we have not gone ahead until that is concluded. So I don't think anyone is here on this, or is there anyone here on the Eveready Diner matter? No. So I would say we keep it open, or our counsel had indicated that maybe there's a point in time where we
Might want to
deny it.
stop this.
Yeah.
Cut them loose.
So, Richard, I just handed out, in furtherance of our discussion at the last meeting, you may recall that one of the questions that the board was discussing at the time was sort of wondering what was going on with this application at the planning board. And we've gotten some secondhand information, I think, over the past couple of months about it. But after our meeting, I reached out to Michael Trimble, the planning board chairman, and asked him to send us a little briefing on what's happening. And I handed those out, a copy of his email to me out to you. And basically what Michael is saying in this email is that this application is pretty much stuck where it's been for many, many months, which is that there just seems to be this ongoing dispute between the applicant and the Department of Health about whether a new wastewater disposal system is going to be required for the new building. And they seem to be at loggerheads about that at the moment. And so nothing is happening at the planning board to move the application in front of the planning board along. We had a subsequent to this email, had a meeting with Michael, and we discussed this matter, and I brought up to him the issue of status of the seeker review, which at the planning board has not begun yet.
It's begun, it hasn't finished.
Well, it's in its formative
Yes.
stages, right? They have not issued a determination of
Right.
significance. And it's the preference of the planning board that the variances not be that no variances be granted by the zoning board of appeals in this case, given the other circumstances that are pending at the planning board, without the seeker review at the planning board having been completed first.
Okay.
So I think that the recommendation that I was going to make for tonight's meeting is that the zoning board of appeals keep this public hearing open for one more meeting over to January 17th. And then I think that we'll be presenting a recommended resolution to the zoning board of appeals at the January 17th meeting that, provided nothing has changed, and we'll reach out to the planning board again before the next meeting, but if nothing has changed, I think that this application, that it makes sense for the board to just go ahead and deny this application without prejudice for the applicant to reapply at some point in the future for the same variances once this matter, the problem with their SDS gets solved and the matter starts moving forward at the planning board, and there is a conclusion of the seeker review over at the planning board.
Okay, well, any discussion on that? All right, well, in light of the lack of the submissions by the applicant, and in light of the planning board communication, in light of what our council has said, I would make a motion that this application be open, the meeting be kept open one more month into January, and if at that time there's no resolution of these issues, in particular the water treatment system, we make a decision at that time to deny the motion, or we could continue it, but we certainly will weigh whether we're going to deny the application in January.
As I said, the denial would be without prejudice to
Right,
reapply
right.
at
Yeah,
some
right.
point in the future.
Do I have a second?
Richard,
Yep.
I'm sorry,
Go
could we
ahead.
just make the motion that the public hearing be kept open until January?
We could, but it would be good if the applicant, I don't know if we're going to send anything to them, but that they would know they have one more month, but Chris has communicated with them in the past, and I don't think our denying or not is going to move them or not move them. So, yeah, we could do it that way. We could just keep the meeting open to January.
Right, it just seems adding more seems to be making a decision before we have all the information.
Very good. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I amend the motion to just carrying it over into January, the open meeting, keep it open. All right.
Okay, second.
Aye.
All right, we're all in favor.
Aye.
Good, thank you.
John, do you want me to communicate with?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, it seems like a fruitless,
I think their problems are not with the zoning board.
yeah, and they haven't, to be honest, they haven't done the board a courtesy of reaching out to us and telling us what's going on.
Right.
And we'll just move forward on our own, Chris, and not burden you with having to reach out again.
Okay. There we go. This is Paul's.
Thank you, Richard.
All right.
Okay, doesn't look like we have any old business. Do we have any old business? Nothing on that, okay. I think we're done here unless somebody has something they want to bring up, address. Anything? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Done.
All right.